player. I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk, we gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Enough jumps, the middle finger make my Jaeger.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this November 5th. Remember, November 5th.
Yeah,
yes, big day.
A little rainy, a little drizzly, I don't know what you want to call it out there.
Yeah, it's kind of a miserable day, basically.
It was warm this morning.
I know, these temperatures, 70 degrees, what's going on? I'm driving around, windows open, windows down.
7 o'clock this morning, it's 51
Turn the
degrees.
heat on, turn the heat off. I don't know what's going on out there. But we are here live until 7 o'clock. Phone lines will be open, 203-792-4101. We did a nice election show night the other night, and phone lines were lighting up, having some problems with the phone lines.
I heard you had some, it was an interesting show.
Oh, it was a great show. Kevin Gallagher, he does a great show, runs a tight ship. Our director, Mr. Mike Toohey, was running things. Him and I were the guys behind the scene, keeping everything together as all holy hell was breaking loose. But they did a good show, and I do want to make a mention of Election Day. Hats off to my niece, Ashley Ward, who put her hat in the ring, as a matter of fact, ran for city council in Danbury. She wanted to try to get involved and do something positive in the community. She came up a little bit short in that election bid, but this was her first time out. And I'm sure she will be back and back in action and doing it again. So as I told her from the immortal line from Remember the Titans, you're a Hall of Famer in my book anyways. So we'll see what happens down the road for her, but it was a great effort by her just to get involved. So I was very proud of her for doing that and had to make mention of that. Of course, Bob Broad Jr. is here.
Yes.
My right-hand man. He hasn't gone and run and hide. He's come out.
I'm still
taking him a
alive.
couple days to recover from the
destruction?
Bloody Sunday in New York sports. I mean, football didn't do you any favors during the day for Jets or Giants fans, and then you had to watch the World Series come to a crashing halt, an end
At least
to
the
it
Giant
all.
game was a little more of a
If you like
game.
offense,
yeah,
it looked like a little bit of a Big 12 football game to me, if not at least arena football. But we'll get to that as well. But so how you doing there, Bob?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Hey, Mets didn't do nothing different than they did in 2000.
5 games.
5 games.
That's it. This was a surprising run. Great second half. Got him in there. So you had to be happy about that. But we'll get all to it. Let's say hello also. Before we get to Mike Met Maniac, let's also mention Connor Faco is here, our production assistant extraordinaire. Which is good to see because teacher-parent conferences were this afternoon.
Yeah,
we weren't sure if he was going to get a good enough
so.
check mark next to his name. We thought he might be grounded and not maybe able to come down and help out on the show tonight. So I was happy to see that he made it. We hear he's taking drumming lessons.
Yes.
Maybe he'll come out and give us a drum roll at some point one day as he works on his skills. And Strange Man has returned as well. We'll see if he wanders in here at some point or has Connor come out with a Strange Man stat of the week. I know what he was interested in mostly about the World Series was the Taco Bell giveaway and the controversy surrounding only one per customer, but it was a free AM crunch wrap, whatever they were giving
For
away.
every stolen
per
base.
stolen base. There was more than one stolen base.
Yeah, especially by the Royals alone.
Jeez, in each game it seemed like they were stealing bases all over the place. All right, Met Maniac Mike McFadden came in just under the wire, beat traffic to get down here. So how is the Met Maniac doing after the World Series demise?
I'm doing good. I mean, I'm disappointed that they lost, but I think there's a lot they can take away from this series.
Well, you got the great pitching staff, you know that, going forward. We'll see what happens with the roster shakeup. Doesn't really sound like Cespedes is coming
No,
back.
I think he's going somewhere where
Yeah.
for a better
I know. It
paycheck.
doesn't seem like, I mean, he was a big difference in the second half of the season. They went from one of the worst offensive teams to the number one offensive team.
Yeah.
Once he came on board, there was talk of him even getting MVP votes. But now his last moment as a Met might be fouling a ball off his knee in really a rare circumstance. You do not ever see a right-hander, very rarely. Last time you saw a brutal in the playoffs play like that was Jermaine Dye of the Oakland Athletics when he broke his shin bone, I guess
Right.
it was, on a similar foul ball situation. What did you guys think? I personally did not think he should have finished that at bat. That was a crucial spot. We talked about it last week, Mike. You mentioned how they don't get the add-on runs, the tack-on runs. That was a crucial spot with them up 2-0, looking to get more. And he couldn't stand on that leg, and they let him finish that at
taken him
bat.
out and sat him, because
He
if
popped
anything-
it up, and
yeah.
he couldn't even walk, let alone run to first base
Right.
on the pop-up. So why did they leave him in? I thought that was a mistake. What were you thinking at that time, Mike?
I think Terry Collins was in a tough situation for this reason. You have a guy who's probably better than anyone you have coming off the bench. And he's the guy actually, one of the big reasons why your team actually went as far as they did at
Right.
making
Well,
the
remember,
playoffs.
around the trade deadline, they got Uribe, who was back active after he missed the first two, Kelly Johnson. They picked up some other guys. I just think when a guy he was clear he could not stand, and he came out of the game immediately. After that, you need somebody up there with two legs at least, even if he's your best bat. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was a kind of a mistake leaving him in there. Ultimately, the big decision in this final Game 5 came with Matt Harvey going back out into the field in the ninth inning to try to finish what he started, try to be like Kurt Schilling or Jack Morris, go the distance in a elimination game, and he was not able to do it, as the Royals did rally and tied it up in the ninth, ultimately winning 7-2 in 12 innings. So I did not have a problem with them sending Harvey back out for the ninth. He was, 101 pitches
Right.
after 8. Lights out, pitching a shutout going into that ninth inning. He was doing something that other Met pitchers hadn't been able to do to this Royal team, getting swings and misses and striking them out. What do you have, 8-9 strikeouts at that point? So he was obviously dealing. Now, the only thing I'll say about it, the stress level and the emotional level ratcheted up when what took place in the dugout happened. The manager has the bench manager go to him and say, "You're done, Matt." And he says, "No way, no way." And so now emotionally, instead of him just being calm, cool, collected, going about his business and shutting down the Royals through those 8 innings, now you add that extra level of emotion to the scenario because he is putting it all on him, telling his managers, "I'm getting this done. You are not taking me out of this game." And he goes over to Terry Collins after the bench coach went to him and told him he was coming out and said, "You're not taking me out of this game." So that just adds an extra level of adrenaline, which could have led to him not being able to finish the deal. And then he walks the leadoff guy after getting ahead in the count, 1-2 count. That was stunning to me that he ended up walking him. So now at that point, they leave him in to face Hosmer instead of taking him out. And he has to pitch out of the stretch there. At that point, you start really complicating the situation for Familia, who has already had bad luck basically throughout the whole series. So after Hosmer gets the double to make it 2-1, you got yourself a situation at this point, and they bring Familia in, and the Royals do what they do, getting him to third. And then the play, unbelievable aggressiveness by the Royals and Hosmer at third. The ground ball to third base, right, looked him over, but did not look him back. Did not make sure he took a step back to the bat, allowed him to hop with him. As Hosmer said, I was going to hop with him and see what happened. He didn't look me back all the way. And then he just took off like a bolt of lightning for home plate, and Duda could not make the proper throw wide right of the catcher, and he comes in diving headfirst to score the tying run, and that was just...
And then the 12th inning was just brutal.
God. For Met fans at that point, you guys had to be just wondering what just happened. 2-0, looking to go back. Because really, if you think about it, going back for Game 6, you got DeGrom, and then if you can get to 7, you got Syndergaard, who was the only guy who ended up getting a win, and he set the tone in that crucial Game 3 coming back to New York when he threw that first pitch high and tight, putting the leadoff batter on his can and saying, you know, to the Royals after the fact, if you got a problem with that, I'm 60 feet away, come get me.
Yeah.
So that would have been thrilling to get to a Game 7 with him and with the words that were spoken after that game in that scenario. So if you could have somehow finished this Game 5 down 3-2, pressure starts mounting on the Royals, but it was not meant to be. What did you think about the whole Harvey situation coming back for the 9th, leaving him in after the walk, and then the Hosmer play?
I agreed with him coming out for the 9th.
Yeah.
I think that what Terry Collins should have said, though, was I would have given him one batter, regardless regardless of what the batter did.
Well, if he gets the out, I don't know. I think I would have kept him in. But once you walk the guy,
right?
Yeah.
You know, you have to start thinking,
absolutely.
that's it. We got to pull the plug right away.
But Terry Collins has got to be specific about that. He can't just like kind of leave it open-ended, which is kind of what he did. He basically said, "I'm going to let you go out," and then after that, well, when he was asked about it later, he said, "Well, you know, I wasn't going to leave him out there for just one batter because I really wasn't specific as far as saying, you know, how far I was going to let him go." So I think, in reference to that, I think Collins should have let him go out, but I think he should have said, "I'm giving you one batter, that's it."
Yeah, and you know, I mean, any one of these pitchers, I mean, we think back to 2003 Red Sox-Yankees, the Pedro Martinez game, before the Red Sox were able to break the curse in 2004. You know, of course, when asked, a pitcher is going to say, "I can do it."
Right.
The interesting scenario about that, which took place in the dugout as well, going back to this dugout scenario, Pedro came in after that 8th inning and was told he was done. He put his jacket on, he gave his handshakes to everybody, so his mindset changed, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Actually, you know what, Pedro, get back out there. Can you do it? Can you stay in this game?"
Let's put it this way now, if Matt if he had gotten the out, right?
Right, if he got the first out.
If he got the first out,
he went 1-2
and he could have gotten the next bat, and could have got at least the next batter. You know,
if he gets that first out, things are totally different. But once he walks that guy, you got to think about pulling the plug right away. But I also think just being jacked up and the emotional, because now it's all on Harvey. He knows what he said in the dugout. Right. He knows that he told the coaches, "No, you're not taking me out. I'm putting this all on myself." And I just think that changes the emotional level, which could, you know, lead to what took place. But give the Royals credit. I mean, this was just a team that was clearly not to be denied this year after coming up, you know, basically 90 feet away from winning the World Series in a 7-game epic battle against the Giants last year. They turned that into, which was a Cinderella story because they came out of nowhere really to make that run. And they, you know, turned that into being one of the top 2-3 teams on the year. Them and the Cardinals really were the most consistent teams all year. The Pirates were right there.
I mean,
the Cubs ended up record-wise at the end right there as well. But the Cubs had their streaks throughout the season. But the Royals were clearly one of the top teams in the league throughout the year. They were in the World Series last year. They made it all the way back, and they showed resiliency time and again. I mean, think about this number. In the playoffs this year, they outscored their opponents 51-11 after the 7th inning. I mean, come on. They got the great bullpen, and they were just clutch. They know how to rally late. Think about the fact that in the division series, facing elimination in Game 4, they were down by 4 runs in the 8th inning against Houston on the road, and they came back and scored 6 runs in that inning and then went on to win the series to continue on. Then they took out Toronto. Then they take out your amazing Mets in 5. So congratulations to them for getting it done. First time since 1985. Seeing George Brett there in the stands, his reaction I thought was pretty priceless. Great baseball man that he is. So I was happy for the Royals at your expense. I'm sorry for you guys. I know you wanted it, but maybe, hey, you know, you do what the Royals did. Turn the second half run, great run through the postseason, getting there. You got the pitching. We know that. We'll see what they can do as far as, you know, getting the offense. I mean, and also let's get to Murphy here. Tough breaks for him. I mean, after, you know, putting the team on his back, getting you into the World Series with the pitching,
Right.
I might add. But he just had a miserable series, and the errors were just unreal that he did that. So tough break for Murphy, but I mean, I would guess you guys want him back. He's up in the air as well. I mean, what do you think about him coming back?
I think because of David Wright's situation, I think the Mets should probably bring him back. The only thing about that, though, they have to get stronger up the middle. You have Darno, who couldn't throw out anybody, and that's another reason why the Royals won the series. They stole second base on him left and right. Murphy.
There was no contest. Anytime they wanted to steal a base, they stole a base.
Right.
Exactly. So they're going to have to, you definitely strengthen up the middle, especially if you get rid of Lagares. If you get rid of Cespedes, Lagares most likely will be your center fielder. So what do you do about the shortstop and second base situation? You know?
Right. All right, well, we're going to move on, guys. We're going to turn the page.
In the off-season, we'll pick up somebody.
Hopefully.
Well, we'll see, but we're going to turn the page. We're going to put baseball on the books for now. I'm sure the hot stove league will start heating up, and we'll keep track of any moves that are made. Great run by the Mets. Amazing for them to rekindle some old glory and make that run. So you know you have a contending team going forward. So that's the good news for you guys. All right, NFL, Bob. I mentioned last week you guys were a little bit salty. I got a little saltiness on Sunday watching your Giants. Who do you think I was facing in my fantasy football league this weekend?
Drew Brees.
Drew freaking Brees. 7 touchdowns, Bob?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Where's the defense? Were they out on Bourbon Street?
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me with this nonsense?
Yeah.
51 points you let the Saints put up in this. This was Arena League football at its finest, not the NFL. My goodness. The Saints go marching all over the place. And your Giants, thank God they lost this game. I would have been furious if they actually came back and won, which it looked like they were going to do. But, of course, their defense couldn't hold after they took that 49.
Eli got 6 touchdowns, the most in a
The only time ever a home team is allowed 49 points in a game, and they can't win because they gave up 51 points to the Saints, who suddenly find themselves 4-4.
It's the third most points in a game in NFL history.
That was outrageous. My 4-game winning streak in the Money League goes up in smoke as I'm just watching touchdown.
Here comes the stat of the week.
Oh, get it.
Come here.
Say hello. He's out. All right.
Go ahead,
String man stat of the week.
Go ahead, say hello.
Just give a little wave. You brought the paperwork out. Wave to the fans. Wow. Unbelievable. All the nice things I say about this kid. I don't know. There's a long list of things here. I don't know if I can read them all. Halloween was the 13th game, something like that. Going to the World Series that are up 3-1. 80% of the time, the team's... Strange man, you got to help me out with this stuff. You confuse me. I'm in the middle of a live show here, and he's bringing me these notes. I don't know what they mean. Unreal. I got the one step for you that I know.
Can we go back to the Giants?
Exactly.
Royals were down 3-1 in '85 and came back to win. Interesting. There's a strange stat for you. Next year, the Mets opened the season in Kansas City. Do we know that? Does he have that?
Is that an actual fact?
I don't know. All right, Giants, Bob, losing. What are they? Still in first place at 4-4, and they face Tampa Bay this weekend, who looks a little feisty at this point, I would say, and they're at Tampa. So 3-4. The Tampa was able to get a win against the Falcons this weekend to move to 3-4. So I don't know that game will be that easy, especially with your defense playing as poor as it did this past weekend. I mean, that was ridiculous.
I watched that Seahawks-Cowboy game, which was terrible. I mean...
Yeah, speaking of teams in your division, the Cowboys can't beat anybody. The defense played well against the Seahawks. Seahawks lucking up to get themselves to 4-4 as well. But that was just pathetic. Yeah. And what is with your coach? Tell the team to punt the ball out of bounds. Why did they punt the ball in bounds with 20 seconds left? That game should have gone to overtime, Bob. Tom Coughlin, my goodness, what are you doing? How many late games are you going to blow by mismanaging the clock? really, it's just pathetic what they're doing, but they still remain 4-4.
Right.
The Eagles, we know, can't win
No.
at all. They stink. The Redskins got the Patriots this weekend, so you don't expect them to win. They'll probably fall to 3-5.
for them. So
Yeah, so, we'll see what happens. Another New York football team. Well, the black hole, as we know, if you're a Jet fan, is a house of horrors. My buddy, I did text him during that game. He said, why do we always have to go to Oakland? I don't even know that it matters. It just seems when you play Oakland,
Raiders
bad
come
things
into town,
happen. But going to the black hole of Oakland on Halloween weekend, no less, you knew that this was going to be a big problem for the Jets, and it was. 34-20 loss. Speaking of defense, where was the defensive tackling in this game? Speaking of unbelievable, my God, what is happening in the NFL where these teams do not know how to tackle? Wrap them up, bring them to the ground. The Raider receivers were catching the ball and just running all over the place. Missed tackles all over. So big problems, though, with the injury situation. Fitzpatrick goes down early. And I thought it was Glassjaw Gino, but I was like, don't call him Glassjaw Gino. Did you see the hits that he took in this game? I haven't seen a sideline hit on a quarterback like that since Drew Bledsoe was knocked out by the Jets, which started the Tom Brady era. I mean, Bledsoe, he bled so much he needed a blood transfusion after that one. That was a serious situation, as he had internal bleed. Who was that, Mo Lewis?
Mo Lewis.
Started the Tom Brady era. That was the game just after 9/11 as well that came back. And here's an interesting tidbit, because we know everybody talks about Brady and the tuck rule and the Patriots. How did the Jets end up winning that game that day against the Patriots on that same season that the tuck rule became famous? Vinny Testaverde was given the ball back on a tuck rule, so it was not the first time ever in that playoff game against the Raiders, the Raiders, that we have seen that play. The only touchdown that was scored, the winning touchdown in that Jet-Patriot game that day that started Brady's career, was aided by the fact that the Jets did not get a fumble because the tuck rule was in effect. Go look it up, all you people who always think the tuck rule was created the day against the Raiders by the Patriots and Brady. I got sidetracked, obviously, by that. But, all right, back to the Jets. I mean, come on, McFadden. What happened in this game?
This is what I want Todd Bowles to do. I want him to call Terry Collins. I want Terry Collins to come over to the complex and teach the quarterbacks how to do a baseball slide. Okay? Because
Fitzpatrick goes, head first basically, and he gets a torn ligament in his thumb. Sounds like he is actually going to play through it, even though he needs surgery on that hand. He could not return. Glassjaw Gino comes in. He did a couple of good things, but he did a couple bad things as well. And again, he took some shots like I hadn't seen in a while. Patriots dominated the Dolphins 36-7 on Thursday night last week. I guess the Dolphins aren't for real, like everybody said after they beat the Titans and the Texans.
What's tonight's?
Give me a break.
What's on tonight?
Bengals, who remain undefeated against the Browns. Bengals beat the Steelers. Big Ben returned, but he looked terrible. Gave this game away as his defense did a number on the Bengals, but that wasn't enough. Bengals remain 7-0, and the Packers fall from undefeated ranks in a shocker, really. 77 total passing yards from Aaron Rodgers in this game in Denver. So the Broncos beat them 29-10. They remain 7-0. Panthers as well remain 7-0, beating Indy in the rain in overtime. Indy had the comeback, but 4 interceptions by Andrew Luck. So the Patriots and all those other teams 7-0. First time ever this late in the season we have 4 undefeated teams. And on the flip side, how about this? 17 teams under 500 in the NFL. A couple big games this weekend. St. Louis 4-3 at Minnesota 5-2. That's a big game. Wild card permeations are created from that. And then Philly at Dallas Sunday night. That's a big game for you in your division there, Bob. College football playoff rankings. Here we go again. Just a complete fraudulent situation as the first playoff rankings come out. Alabama in the top 4. Are you kidding me? They have a loss. There's like how many other undefeated teams. Once again, college football proves results on the field mean nothing. Absolutely nothing to nobody, nowhere, no when, no how. Ridiculous. But speaking of my nieces, my one niece who goes to Clemson had to be pretty happy to see Clemson come out number 1 ahead of Ohio State, ahead of LSU, but Bama in there. Are you kidding? And Notre Dame moved all the way up to number 5 after they squeaked out a victory against Temple. Tough loss for Temple, who held the lead late in that game but couldn't finish the deal. That was a good game. So, big games this weekend. Bama at home against LSU, Clemson at home against FSU. Some NBA stuff. Knicks start the season 2-3. Celtics, I'm looking for better. Starting 1-3. Nets, how about those Nets? 0-5. Yeah. What's going on there? Warriors, the defending champions, look like they're on a mission.
Was terrible.
They are 5-0. What was with the jerseys? If we can get that Cavaliers jersey against the Knicks, if Mike can find that picture.
I don't know. What was Bron up
Bron didn't like it so much he ripped the sleeves. It was too tight.
Yep.
There it is. The monochromatic look again. Unbelievable. These jerseys, these uniforms, ridiculous. NHL Bruins are in 4th place right now at 13 points tied. Your Rangers have leapfrogged the Islanders into 1st place at 8-2 and 2, 18 points.
New York. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the Isles second point, 17 point. Devils in 5th, out of the playoff picture. And if you're a Bruins fan, you cannot like this. Not only are the Dallas Stars in 1st place with 20 points, 10-3-0, but they came to Boston last night, and the guy they traded away, the young stud Tyler Seguin, put in the hat trick against the Bruins. Said, maybe you should not have traded me. How about we get to this racing? We'll go first NASCAR, then horse.
Okay.
We talked about the Middletown Kid. Shout out to our friends there in Facebook land who have been loyal viewers of our show.
He got wrecked.
But Matt Kenseth intentionally wrecks him into the league. He was number 1 in the standings. Now he falls all the way to 8th. Joey Logano, we're talking about the Middletown Kid. So he is in a bit of a tight spot now as he needs to come back and get himself up those rankings as they continue the chase and they move into the next phase of things. And Kenseth got suspended for 2 races, which is pretty unprecedented in NASCAR. And how about that? Jeff Gordon won that race. He is now in 1st place.
On his final tour of
as he goes into retirement.
Yes.
Horse racing, American Pharoah, last we saw him, he actually lost his last race, but of course he did get the Triple Crown earlier in the year, which was incredible that he did that. Now he gets the Grand Slam, first ever time that somebody who won the Triple Crown went on to win the Breeders' Cup. So big deal for American Pharoah. That is his last race of all time. Now he gets to go out and just be the stud that he is and reap the glory in the trainer's room there or whatever. So American Pharoah, great job by him doing that, and it was a great race. I did get to watch the replay of that. I didn't see it live, but it was a great race. He pulled away late, finished the deal easily. It was pretty tight around the first 3 turns. He had some pressure on him, but that was it.
Hey, remember the vets this coming next
Veterans Day, absolutely. Strange Man was here with the stats of the week. I don't think we got all of them. Brady's 9-0 on Thursdays. All other stuff, I don't know, but we're running out of time. So sorry, Strange Man. Too much notes, too much complications. I couldn't get to it. We are off next week. Sorry to say, we will not be here back in a couple weeks live then. So we are out of time. We'll see you then. Take care.